I've created a new practice whiteboard exercise for content designers, and I've gone ahead and solved it to provide an example of how one might do this. Let me give you a look. Here's the exercise. We have a mock-up of an account settings page and some instructions along with a little workspace to document our process. Let me read the instructions to you just so you can see what this is all about. Scenario, you've joined Flowdesk, a SaaS platform that helps teams automate workflows and manage projects. The account settings page has grown messy over time. Various teams have added their own sections and labels, leading to duplication, unclear hierarchy, and inconsistent terminology. Your role, organize and rewrite the content to make this page clear, scannable, and user friendly. Time limit, you have 45 minutes to complete this exercise. Okay, so let's look at the mockup. This is an account settings page with various categories and lots of links. So I want to share my approach, which I've outlined right here. The first step is to create a mini product brief. Normally in the real world, if I were working on a project like this, I would have some documentation, maybe a product brief, maybe a Jira ticket, maybe both. So I'm going to do that just to show how I build an understanding of the product and the problem. My next step will be to do a card sorting exercise because I recognize this from experience as a problem that card sorting is made to solve. So card sorting is ideal. That's going to be step 2 for me. Step 3 will be to change labels so that they're a little bit more consistent, maybe more descriptive. Some of these might be a little bit long, so I'm going to adjust those. And then my last step will be to summarize my process. So I've done this already just to save time and make this video a little bit shorter. So here's the product brief. Imagine I had an interviewer with me while doing this exercise and I could ask that person questions. That's how I would come up with all the information that appears here. There's a problem statement, information about users, their needs, their pain points, some business goals that we want to achieve. Discoverability and engagement are two things we're trying to improve here, especially with the workspace management features. So those are these features here. Maybe this is a PLG company, a product-led growth company, and collaboration is how they grow. Constraints, we're not going to be affecting or changing the layout or the visuals. We're just working on the information, architecture, and the terminology. And finally, I've provided some milestones as I see them. So after improving the content, it would be the product designer's responsibility to make those changes in the design and hand off to engineers. And then a usability test would be a great way to validate that work, followed by a limited release. So an experiment maybe with limited traffic just to make sure before we go to step 4, which is a full release. So now let me show you the card sorting exercise. Card sorting is just a way to kind of build a structure, an information architecture. And so I have created one here where I've taken all the original categories, the items from these categories, and I've laid them out here, and I've just arranged them in a way that makes sense to me. And so I've come up with new labels for each of the categories and subcategories. And then my next step is to improve some of the terminology. I've also ordered these from top to bottom the way I'd want them to appear in the design. And I've changed some of the copy. I've made most of the options action-oriented, so they start with a verb, except for a few things where that might be a little weird, like company name. You want to see your company name in your profile. You might not want to see edit company name or change company name. Same with profile name, job title, profile pic. Although profile pic might be one. But then again, this is something that we'll validate via a user test. Here's what that looks like in the mockup. So this has all been rearranged. And I don't love that these subcategories are links and then there are links underneath those. It's just the layout that we're forced to work within. But I have created a summary where I have mentioned that Number one, it's not clear what happens when you click a link. Where do you go? Do you see a new page and that's where you make changes? Um, I have suggested maybe a drawer where interactions can happen so that you can still see this main content. You know where you are, you know where you came from. Um, or it would be great to maybe just put the affordances right on the screen in the appropriate section so that you could edit your username and password. And by affordance, I mean the drop downs, the text boxes or input boxes where you can make those changes. Um, so that's not really within the scope, but as a content designer, that's something I would be concerned with. So I've noted that. But here I've just summarized and made it clear that the brief provides an understanding of the problem, card sorting improves those categories and groupings, and descriptive labels make the content a little bit more understandable. In other words, it's more obvious what happens when you click on a link, and you know that before you click. So that's my attempt at the exercise. I will put a link to this in the description. Thanks for watching.